What if you could slide into 1,000 different worlds where it's the same year and you're the same person, but everything else is different? And what if you can't find your way home? Well, Robert Jeffries and I found the gateway. Now the problem is finding a way back home. This is Stumbling Through the Multiverse, a Sliders recap with Rain Coleman and Robert Jeffries II. What's up, y'all, and welcome back to none other than your official podcast for Sliders. Anyone tell you any different, they are lying. I am your co-host, Rain Coleman, the CarefreeBlackNerd. Happy to be back again. And I have with me today a voice and a face that you should be familiar with because he's in there every day, and it wouldn't be no Stumbling Through the Multiverse without this man. What's going on, Robert?
What's going on, man? It wouldn't be a Stumbling Through the Multiverse without you too, man. We're duo. We're not the quartet. We're the duo for this one.
yes. Oh man,
yeah.
Where you going?
So I wanted to start off. It's I guess kind of like little low key, but I wanted to I guess give my condolences to a friend by the name of Sabrina Wood, or somebody that I knew. She was a co-host of another podcast called SyFy Sistas, and SyFy Sistas is really well known within the Trek community. The focus of the podcast was highlighting Trek from back in the day to current day. They would do recaps of episodes, interview actors and creatives from all across the Trek spectrum, and we're actually really big with going to conventions. But the way that I guess met Sabrina was as a fan, because I was specifically looking for Star Trek podcasts which had Black voices. So when I found the SyFy Sisters, SyFy Sistas, that's when I started listening to Sabrina and the other co-hosts, the other talented co-host. Funny enough, because we live in a small world. When I was hired on to write the Steam Superheroes comic book for the Steam Superheroes nonprofit, I found out that Sabrina was one of the board members of the organization. She was the organization's treasurer. And I remember when I came on board, my point of contact, one of the other board members, her name is Linda. She says, "Yeah, we also work with the SyFy Sistas," and I was like, "Oh, okay, seriously?" Because I was like a fan, right? Yeah. And so after that, I got a chance to meet with Sabrina and the other co-host on the. We actually did a podcast talking about the comic book, and I got a chance to tell her and tell them also that I was a fan of the podcast. So she was a wonderful person. Like I said, unfortunately, we lost her last week, and I wanted to use this time just to offer my condolences and say, rest in power, rest in peace to this wonderful sister who celebrated all of geekdom to the fullest. So for the little bit of time that I met her or got to know her a little bit, she was a wonderful person, and I'm telling people to definitely go and listen to SyFy Sistas, because she was a huge part of geekdom in general. So but yeah, my condolences to her family, to her friends, and everybody who was feeling this loss.
Absolutely. And you said she did a podcast, not a YouTube, but a podcast.
Yeah, it was a podcast. I don't know if there was a YouTube component to it, but I know that I would listen to it on Spotify. So wherever you can listen, find your podcast, Apple, Spotify, I think Google. I think there's Google Play. Yeah. Okay. But if you just search for SyFy and then Sistas, Sistas, that'll bring it up. So.
Okay, because I think I'll go ahead and add that to the show notes, just so
Thank you, man.
Yeah, of course, because I'm looking for it now. That's what I'm doing. Um, yeah, so listeners and viewers, we will definitely add. I found it. I will add their website and probably like the Spotify
Yeah.
link to the
Mhm.
just so you can get familiar with. It's unfortunate that some of us have found her, after she passed, but I'm sure, especially if it was your recommendation, I'm sure she did good work.
Mhm.
So yeah, my condolences to her and her folks as well.
Yeah.
So
Yep.
yeah, make sure you guys check those show notes and give the SyFy Sisters a listen
Yep.
and give their website a visit. Oh man, so yeah, um, but to pivot just a bit um, into our own little mess of a
Mess of a show.
show, because my God, um,
Yeah.
in true rare form fashion as usual. One, uh, if you ain't checked out the last episode, check that out. That
Yeah.
you need to hop
Mhm.
on in. You miss a little, you miss a lot, and it was a lot of us that time. So,
Yeah. Yeah. It was a fun episode, man. Fun
absolutely,
episode. And also,
absolutely.
pledge to that Kickstarter. It's still live right now.
Yes. So
Yeah.
that'll be in the show notes as well. So check it
Yeah.
out. Check it out. Be you watching or listening, check them show notes.
Mhm.
Um, yeah. So let me give some general thoughts. This episode pissed me off. This episode started off strong and just lost me. Now, keep in mind, some of that is probably my fault because I
Mhm.
do not read the description
Yeah.
until we press record. Like even now, I have not looked at the
Yeah.
description for the episode. But if I look at the description, I might be kind of kicking myself. But I will say we started off good, but I was pissed off, and I'll
Yeah.
leave it there. Shit.
So one of this is um this before we watched this, for the podcast.
Mm-hmm.
This has always been one of the ones that I like, right?
Okay.
Um, Now after watching it, after understanding Rain's disdain
Yes.
or the categorization of Quinn as the ultimate villain,
Yes.
I'm still liking the episode.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I think there are definitely things that are, kind of, work better, don't work as well. But
Mm.
this one, I can't. It's like I can't really kind of shake, how, kind of that ranking or whatever.
Yeah, that's
Um,
fair.
but I definitely do agree that we will agree on certain things that
Yeah.
happened in this episode. But I think
Yeah.
that um, for what it was, it works for the most part,
Mm-hmm.
Um, so yeah, so I'm kind of still there. I'm kind of still there
Yeah.
as to where I was before.
Okay.
But definitely, like I said, I'm ready to get into it. Did you want to give the the summary of it or
Yeah.
the
Let's see if
yeah
it's partly my fault. Am I the drama, Cardi B?
no,
This
no.
episode, season 3, episode 4, The Guardian, which I was calling Gladiator for some reason. Time progresses slowly on a world where Quinn meets and protects his younger self. So I actually am very happy that I did not read the
Mhm.
synopsis. I will say, though I am disgusted with this episode, it was still fun.
Yeah.
I can
Mhm.
objectively, this was fun. I I think it works for this one sentence synopsis that Peacock
Yeah.
gives, but I think it's lacking. And this is just something that happens with sliders, and I'm sure it happens to other shows. There's a moment, and we'll get into it, but where the professor effectively explains the difference between
Mhm.
what we're doing here and what was stated before. And I don't mind that, but I think one thing that kind of irks me a bit is that you have the professor there to provide these scientific ideals, and I think that's good, but
Mhm.
there's no forethought. Like I'm thinking, like
Yeah.
y'all sat down and said we're writing 22 episodes, and this episode is about this episode about that. I understand the 90s was a different time, but you mean to tell me Martin, Buffy the Vampire Slayer, Friends, Star Trek, all these different
Yeah.
types of shows can like seed in stuff, but you
Yeah.
couldn't
Mhm.
like mention a little scientific. I was like, what the hell? But I'll stop there. Take it away, man.
So so we begin on, I'm calling it I called it Hospital World.
Okay.
Because we don't get any context for this world aside from, like, they don't even show somebody reading a magazine that said, the Beatles are in Congress, right? Or just something, something wacky. Like, this looks like a regular run of the mill world, so I just call it Hospital World. So we open up with a professor getting an X-ray, and he's actually getting, I guess, his brain scan. It looked like they were primarily looking at his brain, but he's getting an X-ray, full body scan, and then we see him walk outside of the hospital, and he looks worried. He looks tired, and I think he even leans up against the wall, or just for something for support. And then Quinn shows up asking if he's okay, and the professor tries to kind of play it off. But Quinn then explains that the reason he's there is because he there was a voicemail that came through to the hotel, and it was for the professor about his doctor's appointment. And Quinn is concerned, but he's also upset that the professor didn't tell the team that he was going to the hospital, or going to to this doctor's appointment. So the professor explains, because this is the episode where we decided to do this, that we've had 2 seasons, right?
You about to piss me off.
Right. That's what it is. That is one of my issues with this. But he explains to Quinn he has a terminal illness that is incurable, and that apparently doesn't have a name. And
right. Oh God.
He says that he said, I think Quinn says, "How long do you have?" And then the professor, maybe the professor offers it. He's like, "I may have a month, I may have a year." He says, "I'm not in much pain." And then at this point, he says, "Well, we should go our own separate ways," because he doesn't want to be a burden. And Quinn, because they're actually about to leave in an hour, and he explains that he wants to live a little. He wants to go on some adventures and live every second, like second of his life to the fullest. And he doesn't want to become a burden. And Quinn first, he's like, "What's the greatest adventure, but sliding?" And I think the professor starts to walk away, and then Quinn starts like talking shit to him. He's just like, "Nobody don't want you." No, he starts talking ish or whatever. And I guess it's to get under the professor's skin, and then the professor maybe understands what Quinn is doing. But it's funny because he's talked shit, and then when the professor turns around and he goes to him, he's like, "We need you." And I was just like, this is the worst. It's like, whatever. And so the professor and Quinn have a moment. They hug, and he tells Quinn, "Please don't tell, Wade and Remy." So the next thing that we see is the sliders. This is one of the worst slides that they've had. They slide to the next world. And I'll call this the slow time world. Because the time runs differently here, and they are back in San Francisco. So they actually show like a just like static, like a shot of like a skyline of San Francisco, or like one of the the rolling hills. Yeah. So when they start walking down the street, they notice that people are wearing clothes from back in the 80s, and the cars look like they're from the 80s, and Quinn starts to notice something, and you see him run off towards a cemetery, and there's a funeral taking place, and he sees, and they're asking him like, what's the issue, and he sees the younger Quinn turn back in slow motion sepia tone, and he says, "We're at my father's funeral." And then so then we cut to break. So as far as the opening, what's
this shit is silly as fuck. So I have just put into words my issue with this episode, but I'm going to wait until because it hinges on us talking about it more.
Okay.
I was all in until Quinn showed up. Not because I don't like Quinn, but because I'm expecting some explanation. How fucking long have we been here that you've scheduled a doctor's appointment?
Yeah.
And you are able to be seen for a fucking CAT scan. Like,
Yeah.
what is going on? Where's the money coming from? There's no insurance cards. So to your point, I need to know more about this world. Is this a free
Yes.
healthcare world? Because what are you talking about? Also, what is this mysterious Ebola / pneumonia? Well, I was just like, well, yeah, and it's bad, and I'm gonna on my last days it's gonna be undesirable. Girl, what? What is going on? What are you talking about? And also, Quinn, oh, I got your message. And I was thinking, like, if the professor is here, that means he got his message to come here. How are
Mm-hmm.
you also getting his message?
Yeah.
So somebody left a message and then just told you again. Like, so are they holding on to messages at the front? All of this is weird.
Yeah.
But also, why didn't you bring everybody else? This is my problem with Quinn. You want to be the motherfucker that's in charge to do everything. You want to be the reason why shit is so grand and you always killing people. And then this is a HIPAA violation. Why are you at this man's doctor's appointment? What are you doing? So I do not like Quinn. But what really pissed me off was the professor. You decide you about to go off on your own, girl, I'll be sure. But then all it takes is, we don't need you. We'll be fine
Yes.
without you. Quinn is not 11 years old. This man is like 24. Fuck him. I was like, if that's all it took, that's why, like, the opening, we've had other openings that were longer than that.
Mm-hmm.
Why y'all cram this shit in here? This is Rembrandt being on a therapist couch is very different than you being in a CAT scan machine.
Yeah.
Quinn is ugly. He's not ugly. I just don't like him, bro. I just don't. He's a fucking menace. He is the ultimate antagonist. What's the ultimate adventure to go slide? And I do understand the idea of, like, we're in this together.
Mm-hmm.
So because I was a little frustrated with the professor, because I'm like, yeah, nigga, where the fuck you going? Yeah, I think a lot of my frustration with the opening is that we know nothing about this world when the very show hinges on the worlds being different.
Yeah.
So to be like, oh, I'm just about to go off and explore. It's like, but what kind of world is this? Is there
Right.
dinosaurs here? It's like, is it only white people? Is it everybody wears tan shirts? Like, what? Give me something, because that makes it makes no sense when you are in a uniquely specific situation that would lend yourself to trying out different worlds, because the next one might be the better world to, like, chill and relax. That was just,
it was weird.
It was
it felt rushed.
Very.
It felt rushed, and I think, like, as far as one of the things that would kind of work against this for me for this episode would be the fact that I'm trying to think, because I know people will say, like, well, we have to give them character development. We have to, do things, we have to do different. Right, exactly. But that would be the face that I would make. But I would be like, but you've had 2 seasons to seed this in. Like, you've seeded certain other things in, not even seeded, let's just say, like, you've referenced, right? And so to not do that and have this opening be, like, on the blandest, this is the blandest world that we've seen them in.
Ever.
Like, this is just
Ever.
Like, they might as well have made it back home. And it's just like, and then we get this big bombshell, and it just felt like you only did this to parallel what's going on with Quinn.
Okay. You've already said it.
Yeah. Yeah, my bad. I didn't mean to take it.
No. I'm not mad. But that was my issue. The fact that I kind of felt something, but by the time we got to the end, I realized, oh, this is just in service to him.
Yeah.
So the professor was a magical Negro. What are we doing? What are we doing?
He did march on Selma. You remember that, right?
Oh God.
But yeah, and so it kind of cuts the legs out of something that I felt could have been emotional, for the professor. So an emotional emotional arc. So we get back to slow motion with me world. No, slow time world. So working like that. Anyways, Quinn is slow time world. Quinn is he's at the funeral. They're still at the funeral, and Quinn is kind of going through it. You can tell he's going through it. The sliders are like, I'm just saying, like he does.
I know.
For the people listening, y'all can't see Ray's face. But then he's approached by apparently his teacher from back in the day, Hannah Haley. So I'm just gonna say Miss Haley, and I think she asked, like, "Are you?" This is the part where she asked, "Did you know Quinn's father?" And he says, "Yeah, we were friends, and my name is Jim Hall." I think that's his name. So Jim Hall. And so I don't have much about this. So the next scene is like they go to the hotel, and what Quinn because of course Remy, and the thing that I also don't like is that Wade is never the one to ask those questions, like, because she is not as, like, sciencey, right? I think she is kind of on the same level as Rembrandt when it comes to, like, science. The science is outside of, like, the tech side of stuff, right? But they always have Remy being the one asking these questions. So Remy is asking, like, how can we be in 1984, sorry, when it's their 1996, right?
Yeah.
And year-wise. And so there's a theory, and I know I'm probably getting this wrong, but the professor explains this parallel Earth is rotating around the sun, which is rotating on its axis a little bit faster. But for them, this world's 1996 is as if it's 1984. So their time runs slower than the world they're from. And then Remy actually just says that, and then something like a simplified version of that. And then the professor looks at him and says, "Yeah, Rembrandt, whatever." So right. So it was just like whatever. So Quinn wants to be by himself to kind of have some time with dealing with seeing kind of a traumatic moment, like a big from his past. And Wade, so then Wade is just like, well, that pizza spot that was big when we were back in the day, maybe it's still here. And he's like, you want to go for some pizza? And he says, I just want to be by myself. So we go to Quinn's house. Young Quinn is by himself in the basement working on something. It seems like it's the same day of the funeral, or like hours after. His mother, and I think it's the same actress, the second actress, or the first one that played the mom.
I think the second. I don't know.
Okay, well,
girl.
So she offers to bring him some food. Is trying to cheer him up, but he's just going through it. He's he's a kid that's lost his dad. So then he says, I'll take the dog for the walk. I think the dog's name is Bopper. And the dog, the mom says, well, I don't see the dog. Or he must have got out or something. And then young Quinn like just loses it. And he's like, he's like, I can't, he's like, you let the dog go. And, now I'm worried. He's just worried. And then he runs out of the house. Basically, he's lashing out. He's upset with his mom, due to his father's death. So then we go back out to the San Francisco streets. The professor has rented a luxury car. And Wade and Remy are cruising and listening to smooth jazz. And Wade and Remy are like, why are you doing this? And the professor is like, well, I want to live life. I think are they listening to smooth jazz, and then they switch?
It's classical
music,
like violins and shit.
Yeah. Okay, gotcha. And then they switch to like the smooth jazz and drive a little bit faster. And I think Remy says something about his mom having told him growing up, like, you got to live your life, as much as you can, or something like this, or whatever. And then so the professor takes that to heart, and that's when he's just like, well, smooth jazz and speed. And then they drive away. So we go to we go back to Quinn's house, and Quinn has actually older Quinn has brought the dog back to the house, and says that he meets his mom and tells him that he was a friend of the father, and then also he also makes a mistake of calling the dog by his name, and then his mom is like, how do you know that, or how do you know his name? And then he was like, well, a neighbor, and he describes a neighbor. Yeah, he describes a neighbor, but says, my name is Jim Hall, and I used to play chess with your husband at the park or whatever. So anyway, Quinn's mom, she invites him inside, and Quinn says he was wondering if young Quinn was there, and Quinn's mom says that young Quinn is still out looking for the dog and he's upset. And older Quinn says, well, he's probably dumping on you because he's mad at the world. And he says, have patience with him or whatever. And he says, I'll be back to meet him, some whatever. So we'll go through the next scene and then I'll let you, we'll talk about this. So back in the hotel room, the group, Wade, Professor, and Remy, they're eating pizza, and then Quinn shows up. And apparently, Wade and Remy, they took the professor to a football game because he wanted to see it, 49ers game. And he's talking about Joe Montana. So it's, still placing it back in 1984, when Montana was still playing. And Wade asked Quinn, did you speak to your double? Did you speak to your younger self? And he talks about seeing his mom, and then he didn't get a chance to talk to his younger self. And then the professor tells him it's best not to interfere with what your mom and what your younger self are dealing with. And then Quinn says he's there to prevent his younger self from having to go through something traumatic. And then he blows up at Wade because Wade is like, hey, maybe you shouldn't do this. And then he comes back because all the soldiers are looking at each other and they're like, what the fuck? And then he comes back and he apologizes and he asks, he's like, what's up with Professor wanting to go see a football game? And then that's when they tell him that, it was the professor's idea. So you get the idea that this is kind of like one of those bucket list things that he wanted to do. So going back to Quinn talking to his childhood crush, what are your thoughts on these few scenes?
Quinn is a fucking idiot. The show wants us so bad to, as men, want to be Quinn, and as women want to be with him. And Jeremy O'Connell, right?
Jerry O'Connell.
I be wanting to say Jeremy, but whatever. He's fine on his own. Like that's fine. Like I can look at him and say, this is an attractive white man in the 90s with a nice body. He can act, and he's charming.
Yeah.
I don't need the show beating me over the head with this shit because it's giving me Riverdale, and I keep bringing this up. In Riverdale, Betty, Veronica, Archie, and Jughead were the villains. They were not the heroes of that fucking show. Those motherfuckers were evil, and that's what he is. It's like the show wants you. I have a theory that Quinn is not smart. Like book smart shit. Like he was smart enough to create the sliding machine.
Yeah.
And this ain't talk about like, the survivors, they are survivors. The sliders as a whole collective, they don't seem to have it together as far as like survival's spirit. They always get into some shit. But Quinn specifically, to be so scientific focused and minded that you understand sliding, that the other version of you that came through in the pilot like gave you the rundown and you understand how this works. You've been studying this for years, and it's like that's all. And I liken it to like maybe a doctor who's a medical doctor who's smart as shit, but you say what's 2 + 2, and they're like, wait a minute, that's 4, right? And it's not because they're stupid, it's because your brain is full with so much other shit that the simplest shit might get past you. That is my long roundabout way of saying this man is a fucking weirdo. I get having a crush on Heather Headley, whatever that girl name is.
Yeah.
But what's pissing me off is that you understand sliding. You understand how it works. You understand, just like the professor, the dynamics and all this other shit. I know they keep fucking up shit on different worlds, but you are in a world of your past self, and you are inserting yourself into this world. Like it's not you, your age, in a different world. This is you, foundational. Like you could fuck up this boy's life.
Yeah.
And you go, and I could say speaking to the teacher. I'm not gonna get mad at that. But you go and interact with this woman in a way that could potentially harm past you. I'm like, what's not clicking? What is wrong with you? But I'll give him this first scene because of grief. Your father's dead. You're watching the funeral again. I'm fine with that. I was okay with the professor's explanation of like time and axis and how it's slower. But once I realized that was all in service of Quinn, then I was pissed off because y'all have done time shit before. We went backwards on the what world was that when they blew
that
up?
was that was the that was the one with where they went to 3 different worlds.
Yeah, right.
He was stalking that woman from over 3 different, well, let's say 2 different worlds, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, and the time was reversing. Yeah,
so I'm like, y'all have played around with time before. Like, we didn't need this full blown. You could have literally said it's the same year, but whatever. I'm not mad at the explanation, but once I realized everything was in service of Quinn, that's what pissed me off about that. Because now it's like you're losing the luster or the importance of this. The whole time I'm thinking, why the fuck are we looking at you? I don't give a fuck about you. Where's little Wade? Where's Rembrandt? Where's he at in his career? Where's the professor? Let's go see what they're doing. I don't want to be like, oh, I don't give a fuck about him, but like you know you're okay. You're with your mother. You're at the funeral. This is traumatic, sure, but the same care wasn't given to Rembrandt when he went back to his own fucking funeral.
Yeah.
Yes, it was. He was away at war, and like there's that part of it, but the handling was so different, and it was very apparent. I didn't like it at all. Going forward, the show wasn't even keeping track of itself. Quinn, oh, did you know Michael? Yeah, we played chess or whatever in the park. Oh, how do you know Barbara's name? Oh, this random woman. Just say Michael. You're friends with him. He would have told you about his family if you're supposedly friends. This shit. I was just like, this is sloppy. This is just sloppy for him. Fuck him. Wade was annoying, but she was making some points at the start of the episode. Yeah. The professor's football game, all this, like, I felt like that should have been the A plot and flipped this to be the B plot because what this man is about to die. Your father's already been dead. We've seen your daddy 57 times. Like, because I even thought, I was like, wait, if his father's dead here, I know that us seeing him in the pilot or the second episode of the pilot showed us that we was in the wrong world, but like we've seen him multiple times. So I hate to sound insensitive, but girl, he dead. Let's go somewhere else. Nobody said how long we would be on this earth.
Yeah,
like I was like, Quinn, I don't give a fuck about you. I don't care. When he talked, first of all, his mom is a fucking weirdo. What are you talking about? Oh, you want to talk to my son? Man, I've never seen. My husband has never mentioned you. You're attractive, so that must be okay. Why did this man have access to your kid at all? That is weird as fuck to me. She's like, I understand the 80s was a different time. I do. Yeah, we had killers, but what the fuck is going on? Where's your survival instinct? This strange man touching your dog. There was so much going on that I was just like, this is not a real episode. This cannot be real. Quinn is I don't want to say that. That's extreme. But Quinn is weird as fuck.
Yep.
So I think I'll stop there.
I think to kind of piggyback on what you're saying, that they whoever wrote the script had a Back to the Future vibe in this, right? So think about it, like he's going back to stop this traumatic thing from happening, that which will have an effect on his family, but in this case it's directly affecting him. But in Back to the Future, it's his dad and his mom, right? And so then the other thing is you have him getting a chance to, well, in Back to the Future, it was twisted, where his mom was hitting on him, right? But in this case, he's like now trying to, hit on his, the teacher that he had a crush with. And I think the biggest thing that I agree with what you said is that you relegate the professor's story to this B plot where he's doing wacky things because he's about to die. So, and when the reveal, and the other thing is, and we're going to get to this, why did Quinn keep that a secret? Why did he make and when we get to that, that's good. I know we're going to have a big discussion, but that's kind of my thing because he never says exactly what it was.
ever.
So
No, oh.
never. So going back to, so then we go to the next scene is at the school at the playground. There's a bully messing with young Quinn. Okay, so the 90s were wild because they were just letting them just write anything to say. And I don't want to say some of the shit that they were saying to him because it was
Called him a queer.
yes. Well, it was that, but then the other thing that they made the joke about was, yeah, like I said, they were not politically conscious back then. Like he said that to him, right? And so the other thing, the other kid says when they're talking, he's like, "Your dad, your dad killed himself. He blew his brains out." And I was like, "Shit."
But wait, no. When he said no, my dad was hit by a car, and then he was like, "Yeah, I was driving." I was like, "Yo, what the fuck?"
Yes, like, I mean, I don't want to say like I don't think I've been bullied or whatever, but like people like make like jokes like shit. Look at your pants, motherfucker. You know that type of shit, right? But this is vicious, right? Like these were. You wanted these kids to get their asses beat by the end of this episode. So, but it was like it's just crazy because we are so like ultra conscious about what is said on TV and movies. So the 90s, 80s, and 90s were wild. So, and I know there's been worse said in other things, but like, that was like 3 separate things where I was like, shit, nah, they would have had hashtag cancel sliders or some shit, right?
Man.
So the bullies are fucking with him, but saying these like very extreme things. And then the older Quinn, man, he rolls up to the it's a big bully and it's a skinny like it's a skinny bully, so big bully, skinny bully, and he goes to the big bully and he says, he's like, "I know you do what you do because you're dyslexic and you would take it out on young Quinn, and you know what, you're gonna become a born again Christian." And it's so like the kid is like freaking the fuck out, like who is this grown ass man rushing me
bruh
on the playground? And then he runs away, and I think the skinnier bully runs away, and as he's running, what does Quinn yell at him? He says,
just the born again Christian. He was like, "Yeah, you're gonna." Because he said first he told the fat boy, "You can't read," and then he told the other boy, "You're gonna be a born again Christian. You might as well start now." It's like,
and he's just like,
"You're gross."
So the thing is, like, I liked unhinged older Quinn in this case because these boys were coming out hard against young Quinn. Like, they wasn't like, you look at you fucking nerd. They were just like, whoa. So if you want to act like an adult, then, get freaked out for the rest of your life as one. Like this random ass adult. So anyways, he saves him. And then he runs into the bushes. He runs off.
He's so dumb.
So Quinn runs off, in the older Quinn, and then the young Quinn is looking at him like, "Man, that was cool, right?" So anyways, so I guess older Quinn is running back to the hotel. So we get back to the hotel room, and older Quinn is there playing cards with Remy. Like, well, hey, I did my traumatizing for these kids today. Let's just play some spades, right? Or whatever. And so the door opens up. Wade and Professor walk in with young Quinn because apparently young Quinn followed the Arquinn to the hotel, and he and the others are like, because he saved him.
Yeah.
And so the other sliders look at him and are like, "Yo, you need to calm this down. This is weird." And I think Quinn's like, "I'll take him back home." And the professor is like, once again, "Don't get involved." So we go back to Quinn's house. The teacher had told, is the teacher there?
Yeah, she's there.
Okay, she's there. Okay, so the teacher had is talking to the mother and told her about the fight. So anyway, so young Quinn says he'll handle it because his father told him to knuckle up in life. So old Quinn, the older Quinn tells, and that's the thing. So he talks to Quinn in another scene where he's they're on the stoop and he's trying to convince the younger Quinn is trying to convince Arquinn that he misses his dad, and he misses his dad, and basically he's empathizing with him and saying that he understands where he's coming from as the younger Quinn tosses walnuts and he's upset because I think this is where his mom disapproves of him fighting, right?
Yeah.
Is that the thing? So yeah, so like some of the stuff is getting mixed up. So
Mhm.
the older Quinn, our Quinn, talks to Miss Hanley, and she's telling him about the bullies messing with Quinn, and our Quinn says, well, the only way fighting back is his only chance, to get them to stop, or for things to get better. So we go back to the hotel room, because some of these conversations seem to kind of run together for me.
Yeah.
So, but I was doing my best with trying to keep them all together. So, back to the hotel. Remy. So this is Remy said he agrees with the older Quinn and says, "Yeah, young Quinn should learn how to whoop ass. They was whooping my ass when I was growing up, and and then I
Mhm.
learned to whoop their ass, and that type of thing." And then Professor Wade, and I think Wade says something about fighting or whatever, and then the professor, and then the professor Remy and Wade are getting ready to go to an opera, and this apparently was another idea of the professor. And then the professor makes an Indiana Jones joke, which I guess is like a shout out or a call out to him being in that trilogy or in that series.
Mm.
And when the professor, I think, leaves the room, Wade and Remy are talking to Quinn about why is the professor trying all these, wanting to do all these new things. And then Quinn doesn't want to, he's been vowed to see he can't say anything, but he says maybe the professor is tired of always being the adult all the time, so maybe he just wants to have some fun. Next thing I guess this is a day after, so this is a day back at the school of the second fight, and Quinn is standing outside of the school like a creepo, and the professor pulls up blasting his classical music in his rented car, and then he shows up and tells once again Quinn, like, please, stop getting into the business of your double, and says that you are changing his immediate future. And Quinn says, well, he's going to stop the fight today because it's one of three fights. So we know that there's a third fight. And he says the third fight was the worst. And so rather than the professor asking, like, why was the third fight the worst, Quinn is just like, they just leave it there. So I think, Professor says something else. And at that point, he convinces Quinn, or he has to hold
I was
him.
about okay.
Yeah, so he doesn't convince him. He actually holds him. I'm sorry, he holds him. And so then Arquin has to watch his double get beat up. And, the Arquin is going through it. And then they cut to the perspective. You see the big bully and the skinny bully, or the smaller bully, also with a bunch of other kids. It makes me think about when we were in school and we would see a fight and everybody be like, yeah, it's like, damn, this is fucking horrible. And so they're just watching them beat them up, and then it goes back to the sepia tone slow motion from the perspective of the bigger bully, and he's just like wailing. And then Miss Hanley comes in, and then that's what the professor says. Well, that's a commercial. So like we get to the break. So let me stop there. And then we'll go into the what happens after that. But any thoughts up until this point?
Quinn is dumb. So I just let's see, where do we start?
The football game where they
Let,
were
yeah, I mean, okay, that was good. And then that was fun. I like seeing Wade, Rembrandt, and the professor was fun. Like there, and because even Wade said, "Oh, he's actually quite fun now," and that I was like,
yeah.
God. And I'll tell you honestly, what my mind went to, which was so odd when I first turned on the episode, I assumed that we were going to get the reveal that this is not our professor. I thought that's what it was. I thought, okay, he's dealing with something he's known about.
Yeah.
But once it got going, I was like, oh shit, this is all right, girl. So cool football game, great references that I know nothing about. I don't know about this shit, but that's good. What Quinn is going through, so everything is going through, so because he's
Yes.
smiling and laughing at us and shit. 1 minute, then you beating the hell out of kid. Now I will say, him telling that boy you can't read. I know your secret, you can't read. Like that, I was with him. This is one time
Yeah.
in this episode, I was like, yeah, whoop they ass. But I'm also of the mind that you're traumatizing those bullies, and I don't want to be so cold-hearted that I don't understand. Like, if you're rewriting this man's history,
You're rewriting
you're
their
rewriting his
yeah.
too. And also in my mind, I was like, go to the source. Why are you going hovering over yourself when you could just go to these boys' house and beat them up, beat up their daddies, beat up everybody at that house? You know, like you're you're affecting you instead
Yeah.
of affecting them, and they're the problem. More importantly, because please don't beat up kids. More importantly, fuck this school. Why is Heather Headley sitting in my living room telling my mama I was in a fight? Girl, fuck you and this school. Y'all don't have nobody to stop this shit.
Yes.
You saw. So let me be clear, because she's not this sweet, nice lady. You watched this boy get his ass beat. One, y'all know he's 2 grades behind these people in size.
Yeah.
And you letting them motherfuckers whoop his ass. And you know who did it? You're not about to convince me you don't know who did it. She's not this benevolent lady who's so sweet. The fact that you sitting on my couch means you saw this fucking fight.
Yeah.
Nobody ran out on that first fight. Wasn't no security. That's why the whole time I was thinking, like, Quinn, do you not remember what? Like, do you not? I get his desire to change the outcome.
Mhm.
That's fine. But you so wrapped up in the trauma that you forgot that this lady came out to help you on the second fight. That means you yourself are an unreliable narrator. You don't need to insert yourself in this little boy's life because you are missing key details. Like,
I mean, he was being punched. He was being
no, fuck that. You no, whop it. Then also, like, you're at the whatever. He's fucking weird. The other thing. Fuck this school. You and the teacher walking out, and says, his trauma and people and this and that. Girl, fuck you. You this school is fucking stupid. Let me see. Get the school involved. I got that in bold. The opera. Where the fuck are y'all getting this money? We didn't got a Rolls Royce. We didn't got tickets to the opera. We didn't got a nice dress for Wade, a nice suit for Rembrandt, and the professor, you got a nice suit. Where the hell y'all getting this money from? What if, like, the last world, you could have said this is free money world, and that's why I could get that CAT scan because it's $1 million, but I went to the bank and just pulled out, like, because and money has always been an issue with me and sliders because it's not consistent. No. I can suspend belief, but it's like, girl, what the fuck is going on here? Like, how do you just whatever? What else I got? The opera. I did like the line, maybe he's tired of being an adult.
Yeah.
And though I don't like the way the show treats Rembrandt and Wade in comparison to Quinn and the professor, I did like that line. I don't just that specific line really kind of hit home for me because, like, yeah, he is, though he's an asshole, and though he is like a motherfucker of his own making, like, he creates his own problems by being so stuck up. But I do get the sense of, like, that I'm sure that could happen. You are the oldest of these four, or these 4 y'all. You have to just naturally step up in a lot of cases. So I get that really hit home for me. And then Quinn at the school gates, you are a fucking creep.
Yeah.
You need to sit the fuck down. You're weird as hell. And you're at the gate. First of all, this school is the most unsafe school. If you think about Dangerous Minds, you think of Cooley High, you could think of like any black school film from the 70s, 80s, and 90s is safer than this shit. You don't let this boy get his ass beat. You got this creepy ass old man who's just coming around and has targeted this one boy. We don't know. You and that boy look nothing alike. You ain't like, oh, you gotta look like his uncle. No, this is a fucking stranger. One stranger danger in the late 80s.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I was thinking about like the kids on the carton, the milk cartons or whatever.
That's what I'm saying. This is very odd behavior, but I think again the show is relying on him being an attractive white man and us supposedly like being in love with his character, that we understand what he's going through. When any sane person would be like, "Who the fuck is this man? Why are you here? These are children." Like that, and it's like I understand what the show is giving us, but I couldn't get past this. This is fucking weird. And then it's one thing to be standing at the gate, but you holding on to him,
gripping it.
I'm like, you are. And then the professor got to hold this big ass man holding it, you shaking the gate and shit. Oh, it's so much trauma. And I was like, and then what did he say to Rembrandt when he first saw? He was like, yeah, it was trauma. You don't know. So I'm like, this is a black man.
Right.
This is a black man. This is an older black man. And you talking about, oh, you don't know about this. Even if he said it to Wade, this is a white woman. This is a woman in the 90s. What are you talking about? That's what I'm saying. This show keeps trying to position Quinn as Quinn can't be the everyman, the fantastic, stellar, smart at everything, and also the victim.
Yeah.
You can't. I mean, now two things can be true at once. I'm gonna be very clear. But the way y'all have positioned him for all these seasons, this is unbelievable.
Well, yeah, I mean, they're because it's coming out of left field. Like we haven't had episodes where he has dealt with like some personal, like what the closest that, and it's not even close.
That lady,
it's where we, his long lost love.
Yes,
that's the closest. I'm trying to think of it, and then maybe like if he talks about his dad from time to time, but like even then, it's not on the level that we saw in this one episode. But yeah, like I'm glad you called me on that, because like where he was gripping the
I was like, you're a pervert.
Yeah, there's a lot of shit. Well, that or like, well, from the perspective of like,
that's what I mean.
Yeah, if I was a teacher looking outside, I'm like, what the hell? Like, why are these?
I'm shooting you. That's it. This is still America. I'm shooting you.
Just
what?
So it just, I don't know. There was they thought that this episode was going to be like, let's have everything come out about this dude, or how like harsh his life was. So we're still at the fight, and Quinn is, once again, he's kind of going through it, and the professor is kind of holding on to him. But the professor says, "How did the fight end?" And that's when the Quinn, going back to your gaps in his memory, he's like, "Oh, Miss Hanley came out, right?" And then Miss Hanley, and then like in the same like sepia tone, like slow motion, she runs down the stairs, like, "Oh shit, they whooping this kid's ass again," and she pulls the bullies off. And you see Quinn the young Quinn has a bloody nose, and he was like, which way did that car go that just hit me? So it happens the same way. It says it's like he's Art Quinn says it's like looking back in time, because that's when he's looking at it from the perspective of the sepia tone or whatever. Older Quinn, for some reason, after that, goes and meets Miss Hanley at her car. It's just like she's getting in. And I think he says something like, "I'm not no freak," or he says, "I'm not no creepo," or something. Yeah. And so, because she says, the first time somebody says this, it's kind of weird that you watch it over young Quinn like this. And then he's just like, well, I just don't want to see him, dealing with the same stuff I dealt with. You want to go to dinner? And so he's trying to convince her about the fight on Friday that's coming up, and then asks if, to have dinner with him so he can talk to her more about his obsession with his younger self. So Art Quinn and Miss Hanley or Heather or whatever, they're at dinner. Quinn is talking about how difficult young Quinn has it. Miss Hanley asks, how does Quinn know what young Quinn is dealing with? And he says, I can identify with Quinn 1 because I went through a similar situation. And a lot of talk back and forth, with, along those lines. Older Art Quinn later on, actually, I don't know if it's later or at this point, but basically at a certain point, he's hitting on his teacher. He says, ugly, when he was younger, because he's talking about himself, he says, I used to have a crush on my teacher. And then Miss Hanley says, well, love's funny that way. Sometimes it has no boundaries.
She's going to jail. I'm sorry.
So, Rain, I specifically paused it, rewound it back, and put that in quotations, because when she said that shit, I was just like, okay, this is
I hate this.
I need somebody outside of, we need another demographic in these writer rooms, right? To tell folks like, this ain't it. We've all had crushes, right?
Mm-hmm,
whatever.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm not going to write somebody saying some shit like that. So anyways, I'll finish this up and then we'll hop into it. And then so they later on, I think he's walking her to the car and he says, can you watch over, Quinn, because he's going to need some help. And she says, yeah, whatever. And then Quinn kisses his teacher. So Because that was such a huge thing. What going back to the end of the fight and this, like, what are your thoughts or whatever, or
Quinn
just
is
about
an
the scene alone?
idiot, and this woman need to be disbarred. I don't care if she don't have a law degree. Disbar her. Take her medical degree. She's a fucking idiot, bro. You recognize that this man is spinning, and again, this you could go a bit deeper into this episode and discuss the pretty privilege that allows you to be able to get away with a crime, even though we know Quinn isn't committing a crime. If he was ugly, if he was Rembrandt, even if he was the professor, I feel
Yes,
like I'm like, what the
absolutely.
fuck are you doing?
Right.
Him and Wade couldn't get away with this.
Mm-hmm.
It's just a fact. Well, also he has gotten away with this the whole episode.
Mm-hmm.
This was fucking weird. And her as an educator, and again, I know it's a show, I know there's a writer's room, et cetera,
Mm-hmm.
et cetera, et cetera. She needs to be fired. You see that there is an issue because you visited Little Quinn's house. You know that this man has no relation to them.
Mm-hmm.
He's just a friend of the dad.
Yeah.
That can only take you so far. I've never seen you before, never heard of you before. Not to say you have to know everyone your partner knows, but if
Right.
I've played chess with you in the park, I
Yeah.
might speak to my wife. I might not say Jim Hall, but I say, "Oh, I made a friend. You know, we meet at the park." I'm going to eventually say, "Oh, his name is Jim, I think." You know, it's like and it may just be fleeting. Like we're out to get something to eat. And I'm like, "Oh, honey, you know, this reminds me of I beat the guy today at the park." Like there's nothing tying him to Michael, which makes this so weird. And again, I know we're at different times, but even I grew up in the 90s.
Yeah.
So this time frame is only so far. I think Quinn would only be, if I'm not mistaken, I think he would be 12 years older than me. Like somewhere within
Yeah.
10, we're in 10 to 12 years older than each other. There's no way that a teacher was letting a motherfucker like this just stand at the gate. And the other thing is, there's this, at least in me and my bias, there's this preconceived notion that this is a really safe school. This is a
Mm-hmm.
one because Quinn is jumped up 2 grades. His parents are of a certain tax bracket.
Yeah.
The bars on the gate and the way the school looks, it looks like it's well manicured. So I assume that this is a maybe not private school, but this is a really nice school.
Yeah.
I'm attractive, so I could just be creeping on these kids. What the fuck are you doing? Shoot him. She didn't report him nowhere. She needs to go to jail. Let's move to, oh, I'm not a creep or nothing. Oh, you need to look out for. So there's no other students. Fuck little Quinn. You know how many there's kids who are in their right grade who are getting their ass beat
Mm-hmm.
just because he's small. I would not accept that excuse. The brain part, sure, people might feel
Yeah.
insecure around him, but I went to school with niggas where I was the biggest, but then I also went to school with niggas where even the girls was 6'5".
Yeah.
I don't care about him being small. Toughen up. This Jim Quinn is really pissing me off because how do you go from all that then to like, oh, can we now? I will say he was flirting, but I do think that whatever. I ain't gonna give him no points. The dinner thing, I was okay with it to an extent because I felt like from where she's sitting, one, she still needs to be fired. But this is an attractive man.
Yeah. Yeah.
He seems safe to her.
Mm-hmm.
I know him. I at least I know a network because I know Little Queen and his mom. So I'm okay with her spot in this. This is gross. I know she's not a family member, but this is still gross to me because of the ending. You are flirting with this woman. Oh, some guys I know they say the teacher too pretty. Boy, shut the fuck up. What are you talking about? And this motherfucker talking about love knows no bounds. First of all, send her to jail. But I'm also frustrated because I understood what she meant, or at least I assume she meant something to the effect of, you can't, you Quinn as a
Yeah.
kid, you having a crush on a teacher is normal. Your
Yeah.
kids have crushes on adults, sometimes even family members. It might be, what I'm saying is like you're younger. You could
Mm-hmm.
be 4 years old and my auntie pretty or whatever, and then you
Mm-hmm.
start to understand. Well, no, this is a family member. Blah blah. Whatever rules are set in place. So I'm going to assume that's what she meant, and maybe it just came out weird.
Mm-hmm.
But baby, this is still fucking weird. Your connection to him is his obsession with your student. Why
Yeah.
is he not in handcuffs? Why are you not reporting him? You're a terrible teacher.
They-
You
no, I understood what she was where
yeah, it's
I
still
understood what she was going for. I just don't like those two sentences behind another. Because if it was like some other dude,
yeah.
right? He's like, sometimes love's funny that way. Sometimes it has no boundaries.
Ugh,
Like that's that's weird. So it was just a
like,
weirdly
girl,
written line.
you the
Um, but yeah, but to your point, two attractive young people. No, say what you're about to say.
I'm not done. Oh my
Oh
god.
no.
This pissed me. No, this is my last point. This is
Uh,
what pissed me off. Why approach this woman when you know how she helped you as a child? You know she helped you as like I'm okay with the
yeah.
flashback, but once you remember that she came out and helped you, you know. No, I'm not okay with the flashback because you have a crush. I had a crush on the teacher in the 7th grade.
Mhm.
And it's okay. This is personal, but I think that's still my type to this day. The way this motherfucker look, I'm like, this, all my exes kind of look like. But what I'm saying is, if I
Yeah.
went back in time, I would know that I have a crush on this man. I would
Yeah.
also know, like, that he's helped me. You know, like, oh, I got into
Mhm.
a fight in the school bus, and because as a kid I had a crush on him, him being the teacher to help me would stick in my brain.
Mhm.
So for Quinn to be like, oh, this traumatic childhood, and oh, let me take you out to dinner, and all this, you know how she helped you. What the fuck is the point of even being here? You're fucking it up. Your existence here is changing shit. She already helped you as a child. You have those memories as a child. Why be like, oh, I need you to make sure to look out for Quinn? Oh, something I was already going to do?
I,
Quinn is dumb. He's
it
an
was
idiot.
I think the other what was the other thing? The fact that he shit, it's another weird thing about this. It'll probably come up later on because this one was kind of filled with whatever. So next thing we have a bar, right? So the professor takes Remy and Wei to a bar, or suggests they go to a bar, which is a biker bar, and Wade and Remy are just like, why are we here? And the professor, starts. He's just like, I want to have a good time. He's kind of like really lax. Like he's relaxed. He doesn't care. And they go to they're walking to the bar. Some random guy slaps Wade on her ass or whatever, on her butt, and they don't even follow up on that. But it's just like bikers being bikers, right? And so, I mean, it would have been nice if she had like punched him or slapped him or whatever. But here's what it is. So they go and get some drinks. Remy's shirt is extra shiny. They just got this brother wearing silk on whatever, or not silk, but whatever. He's nice shirt, flashy shirt.
Mm-hmm.
A young lady comes over. Her name's Ambrosia, and starts flirting with the professor. He flirts with her. They're talking back and forth, and Remy and Remy's laughing. I don't know if Wade's laughing, but they're watching him, whatever. But anyway, so that's where that scene ends. We go back to Quinn's house. Quinn is visiting young Quinn, and young Quinn is talking about, well, I got my ass beat. And are they playing baseball cards? I couldn't tell. Like it looked
I
like they
think,
were just looking at baseball cards or whatever. So
yeah.
maybe playing cards. So Quinn tells you, young Quinn, he's like, well, I'm about to leave soon, so I'm gonna have to teach you how to whoop ass. And then his mom is like, she pokes her, she's listening to him talk to Quinn on the porch, and she says, can I talk to you? And she's like, stop teaching my kid how to whoop ass. And then she says, my husband was a man of peace. And in my mind, I'm like, was he Gandhi or was he MLK? And his mom says, and then at that point, I think Quinn is just like, well, he's going to have to learn how to whoop ass because, all these bullies are going to keep coming out. These dyslexic bullies are going to keep coming after him. And then his mom, and then so when he says something like that, his mom says to him, there's just a connection between you and my family. And it was right. So so then at that point she's accepting of him teaching his kid how to whoop ass. And so he teaches, I don't know, is it the next day or is it that same night?
I think it's the next day. I don't
Okay.
know.
So
No,
the
I'm
next
sorry. No. It is that night because they go from there directly to the basement. I was like,
Gotcha. Yeah.
what?
So he's teaching them a day's worth of, actually an evening's worth of boxing, and apparently karate too, right? And because like, isn't he kicking kicking the bullies at the end? Okay, so yeah, and so he said, so as young Quinn is boxing, I want to see if I can get this right. He says that his dad told him he had to deal with the fighting, deal with the bullying, and then young Quinn apparently got into an argument with his dad, maybe about not teaching him how to do it. Right. So I would have been upset with my dad if my dad was just like, go just whoop ass. And I'm like, how? Right. So apparently he had this argument with his dad, and then his dad got into an car accident. He died. And then he said, my dad died thinking I hated him. And then, our Quinn says, your dad loved you. And that's a moment. So at they go to break. Next thing that we have is in the bar, because this is going to end well. The professor is flirting hard with Ambrosia, reciting poetry to her, and because we need some like levity in this like dark episode, that we have, a biker shows up looking like Hulk Hogan and says, Professor, he's like, oh, I hate it that you're reciting poetry because I hate words.
Yeah.
And the professor, he talks shit to him or whatever. It's supposed to be this humorous scene. And then the guy threatens the professor, and then Ambrosia's like, he's great. And then the professor punches Hulk Hogan, who falls out. And then Ambrosia's like, why are you a big bully? Because apparently she doesn't like the professor anymore. And then, like they do in previous episodes, they run away after whooping somebody's ass. So, right. Which was, I guess, whatever, fun. Let's go back to the scene with Quinn, or the bar. Like you started at the bar to this scene with the bar. Any thoughts?
I don't care nothing about this damn bar. This shit. I mean, I do like it on the stop of like bucket list items. That was pretty cool. But
yeah,
whatever, Professor. Okay, sure. You're dying. Just tell us. I don't understand. I don't understand Quinn. I don't like him. Taking a step back, he said, "Oh, I had a teacher and she looked just like you." First of all, you could have said she was pretty like you. She looked exactly like me. Yeah, you're a serial killer. Police, come get this man. The professor, I ended up not having any sympathy for him because where's your son? You're dying and you want to do this bucket list shit. You ain't been more thought about your son, which I guess is par for the course because before that damn fortune teller from Agatha all along told us that you had a son, we had no idea. So I guess that's just what you do. But like, motherfucker, where's your son?
Yeah.
You ain't been more thought to reach out to the love of your life who showed up for 2 episodes. You ain't been more thought about just like it's just even when he listed the things that he wanted to do, it wasn't like, I'll find this world's version of my kid. Hopefully he's here and we can spend a day together before I die.
Or his wife who died.
Yeah. I don't. The professor is he's a shitty person. And I'm assuming he's a deadbeat dad. Because like, what the fuck are you talking about? Weird ass. Ugh. But I mean, he was still fun this episode. But just he's a terrible dad. Ambrosia, okay, sure, she's fun. But even her, to me, she didn't make sense. Because if you're coming over to the professor for a drink, sure. But that's not the vibe I got from her. And so when her man popped up, and I'm not saying it's not possible because you see it a lot in movies where, you're talking to my girl, such and such. But his issue when you talk to my girl is that you're using these fucking words that I don't like.
That's why I was just like, the humor, like for this episode, we don't need cheesy humor like this.
No.
Like, it was weird.
He's dying like that. I would have felt better if it was like, don't talk to my fucking girl.
Right.
That would have made more sense. I'm like, this is narratively, this is weird. I'm like, oh, you ate the last burger in the last scene. I'm gonna whoop your ass. Okay. Then the professor popped to hit him, and he was like, he comically flew across the table. I'm like,
Right.
is this the MCU? No. So Quinn, this his mom is pissing me the fuck off. This strange man is at your house. Okay, I can accept that you've accepted him. Your husband just died. You maybe want any connection you can. I'm okay with that. But you know your husband was like against violence. And you letting this strange ass motherfucker who he played chess with be like, yeah, you gotta rip those motherfuckers' heads off. And then I'm not hiding behind it. I'm coming out, motherfucker. What did you say to my son? Like, she was just too timid for me. I'm like, is this
Right.
why Quinn is the way
Yeah.
he is? Girl, your husband's dead. You need to step the fuck up. I'd have got Big Jim and told him, get the fuck off my property. And when you
Yeah.
come back, I'm gonna shoot your ass. This conversation that the two Quins had made me realize, little Quinn, your dad is a punk. Why the fuck would he tell you, oh, you need to handle it on your own? That would be okay if he was in the same grade. You know he's 2 years
Yeah.
behind these people. Like this, none of this makes sense to me. It's like the show was like, yeah, this is a terrible retcon. Like, because we've never heard of Quinn having any trauma except for his dad dying. We didn't hear about that girl till she popped up that episode. Like, this is shit you could, even if you gave me his trauma 2 episodes ago, I was like, man, you know, I'm so upbeat because I've gone through shit. Like, my childhood was bad, you know, outside of school because I'm so smart. Then I would have been able to accept this shit was terrible. So fuck Michael. You're a terrible person. You're a terrible dad. But to your point, I do feel for young Quinn. Because he expressed, I told my father I hate him before he died.
Yeah.
And though that's kind of sort of cliche, we get that a lot in TV and movies. To me, this hit especially hard or well, because I was thinking, like, why would you confess this to Quinn? He's a stranger. But a lot of times kids don't go, like, it wouldn't make sense for him to say this to his mom. You're also not holding a punching bag. Your mom's not holding a punch. Like, so it all came together, and Quinn, unfortunately, Jim, is a trusted adult. So that scene really got me, because I think the only victim in this whole show is little Quinn, because even after you're gone, yeah, you made an impression on him, but you came into his life as a sort of surrogate father figure, and now you're fucking leaving.
You're gone.
And I don't think the show is being serious enough with that. This makes no sense. And I hate it. So his dad is a punk. I hate him. I agree with Baby Quinn. Ambrosia, get out of here, comic relief. And then Quinn telling him, like, your dad loves you. Like, that, though I hate Quinn, I like that.
Yeah.
But the mom, I ain't gonna say she need custody taken away, but there's something about you where you feel a connection to my family. Girl, you're grieving. You shouldn't trust anything right now. You're if they ever said something like, oh, you favor Michael's older brother, you favor Michael's, like, then okay, at least you've given me something to latch on and be like, okay, yeah, I could see that, because if I went back in time, I think I would recognize my mama, but I also think my mom, if I went to see her and she was 12 years old, she would look kind of different. But I think that I look enough like my family that she might be like, oh, you kind of look like my uncle. You know what I'm saying? Like, I feel like, so this show just made his mama look stupid as hell.
I mean, and like, and that's unfortunate because, like, in the first episode, she was, I really liked how they handled her, especially like when those moments between her and Quinn in the kitchen, and then when she was making the jokes or talking to his urn or his picture, to Michael's picture. Yeah, and the other thing, before I forget, so the thing is with Michael, we learn all this new stuff, like he's a pacifist and this, and once again, it sounds like it's just in service to the story. It is not, because, like, the only thing that we know is that he was absent-minded, because from the first episode, we know on the other world that he turned on his, he was a snitch, whatever. So I don't know, but yeah, it just seems like it's in service to what they're trying to tell, his trauma. So we go back to Quinn's house. Quinn young Quinn and R Quinn or Jim or whatever. I don't know why I just think keep calling him Jim, but they're talking about science stuff. You know, he used to do science stuff with his dad, and they're looking at the stars outside. It's a good scene, you know. So you know that's about all that I got from it. Quinn, the next day, we're at the park, and Quinn is training young Quinn some more, and I'm like, doesn't he have school? So Remy and Wade walk up, and Wade once again starts getting on Quinn's case, and it's just like, you shouldn't be doing this. And then for some reason, Remy is now like, you know, why should he fight when earlier you was like throw hands? Like there's no consistency. So the professor, and so there, the other thing now is that Professor wants to go bungee jumping, right? And so Wade and Remy think that both Quinn and the professor are losing it. So when they walk off screen, because you know they don't have any purpose to serve in this episode outside of just talking about what these other two are going through. The professor says to Quinn that he says, "Well, I understand that you are angry about my upcoming death." And compares it to how Quinn was upset about his own father dying, and then says it must have been hard to have to grow up and be the man of the house. And he says I think Quinn says he stuffed his feelings down to get through it. And then the professor says, well, Quinn, you know, complete about face. You're being a positive force in this boy's life, and your father would be proud of him. Would be proud of you. And I'm just like, but this is a father that was a pacifist and then throw hands. But anyways, so we get that. And so after that, we go to a bridge. The professor decides to. So that was the other thing that the professor was bungee jumping not a thing in the 80s, or was that something? Yeah, okay. So the fact that they weren't able to find a professional, they go to a bridge. The professor decides to bungee jump with no professional help, aside from Remy tying the bungee cord. And so the professor bungee jumps. And then he's just like, he's excited. He's loving life. And Wade and Remy are looking at him. And then Wade is like, how do we get him up? And it's just like, it's another overweight joke. Yay. So anyways, we go to the school to the Thriller in Manila. For some reason, all of them are there to watch this fight. I thought it was just going to be Quinn, right? But because Quinn now needs to explain what the twist was, I guess everybody needs to be up there. So, because, and I always say this, because my memory is bad at times, I did not know. I knew something extreme was about to happen. I did not remember that it was going to be what it was, right? So I just knew that I remember something, you know, that was the big twist. Yeah. So Quinn is hiding behind a tree with a bat. So when Quinn sees the big bully, the skinny bully walk up, he goes to them with the bat in his hands, and they look at him like, whoa, this is about to escalate. And he throws the bat down, and then and you see their faces look like, and I think they say something like, you know, you get ready for this ass whooping or whatever. You should have held the bat. And so he tosses a bat down, and then he starts whooping their asses. I was actually impressed with the choreography, because normally like they'll do that whole like tackling thing or whatever. Mm-hmm. But you know, he punched one bully. He did a roundhouse kick on another bully. He was just whooping their asses. And the thing there are kids hanging out with them, and one of them is a girl. And so, girl, what are you? So the young Quinn like flexes on them like, oh, I'm gonna beat both of y'all's asses, and then you know, so then they run. And so what R. Quinn explains to the sliders is that in his world he used the bat to break the knee of I think it's a skinnier one, and whichever bully it was, he walked with a limp for the rest of his life. So. Thank you, Rain. We have the same mindset. I'm sorry. Like, I'm not telling, we don't condone going out and hitting people. But when he said that, I was just like, but he said that stayed with him for the rest of his life. because
Lies.
he I don't know. I mean, what? So the other alternative is, so you doing a roundhouse kick and whooping this kid's ass like that could probably scar him just as much as if you hit him with the bat, right? But anyways, he was saying that that's what stuck with him, because this was like an escalation, because he it was just that whatever. So he was proud that he had taught his younger self to whoop ass the way he just did, like a Power Ranger. So the next thing that we see is Quinn walking out of the school with young Quinn and his mother. And I'm like, why were you in the principal's office when young Quinn was getting anyways? And so he gets in his mom, and the young Quinn gets in the car, and then young Quinn says, "Hey, will I ever see you again?" And then older Quinn says, "Nope," and
Right.
right. So he tells him goodbye, and then they drive off. And so then Quinn is, I guess, and it was funny because I guess he just convinced the Sliders to hang out at the school to wait for him. And so he's talking to Heather, or Mr. Hanley, and Miss Hanley says to Quinn that young Quinn is a hero for whooping the bullies' butts. and I'm just like, as a teacher, should you be celebrating this? And then the other thing, and then he tells her, he's like, "I'm not coming back again."
Right.
And so it's like twice that he's done that. He's just fucking up everybody. And so he's like, "Yeah, I won't be coming back." And then she says, "But I thought," and he was like, "You was wrong." And then he kisses her. He kisses her and then just leaves. Like, if this isn't the most Captain Kirk 1960s type of shit. And the thing is, Rain, he could have stayed on this world.
Could have.
He could have stayed on this world. So anyway, so he goes to where the Sliders are waiting for him. All the Sliders jump through first, and then Miss Hanley is like, "Nah, this is a good man," right? And so she runs around the corner, and then her mind is probably once again like fucking up everybody's life from this world. She sees him standing in front of this, like, the portal, and she's like looking shocked and confused, and he says, "My name isn't Jim, it's Quinn." And then he jumps through.
I hate him.
And then he leaves her standing, like, staring at the portal, like, what just happened? And that's how the episode ends.
I hate him. I hate.
Oh man,
Quinn is fucking disgusting. I hate. Okay. Why are we all at this school?
right? Just watching the fight.
Why are these 4 fully grown adults at this school just chilling? I understand if there's no security, because I don't know if maybe there was security back then, but there's other teachers. If the kids are outside, it means that at least one class isn't in session. Like, you can't convince me they all skipped class to, you know what I'm saying? Like,
yeah.
There's that. The bat. I don't give a fuck about that they changed your life. You broke his knee with a bat. Why would you sit on that information all this time?
Yes.
This entire time, you could have easily said, "Hey, y'all, I did this thing when I was," even though I don't believe you, like, within the context of this episode, I would have accepted, because it's what y'all giving me. Like, oh, it was traumatic because of baseball bat. I just want to give him other skills and make sure he don't. This bat came out of nowhere. Also, where was it in your book bag? We know you don't play baseball. What the whole setup was weird as fuck. Him taking them down Jet Li style. Okay, I'm fine with that. That was cool, I guess. But Jim Quinn is fucking gross. Y'all. That changed my life forever. I don't give a fuck. What are you talking about? What? Why not just? Also, how about this? Why not talk to his mom and be like, "Hey, put the baseball bat." So also go to his house and just get rid of the bat. Like, there's so many things that could have been done.
Yeah.
Also, contact the school. Like, even him as an adult, why not call the school and be like, "Hey, I'm Quinn's uncle. He's telling me he's dealing with some shit. Do I need to come down there?" Like, there's no, and I understand that may not have made for an exciting episode, but that's not on me. That's on you, the show. You already had a B plot that could have been an A plot. Quinn, what is it? The professor, the professor, him talking. I don't give a fuck about that. Like, girl, okay. Now, because I feel like it's been this season and maybe an episode or so in the last season where they're making it seem like Quinn and the professor are just this father son
Father son
surrogate,
thing.
and that's not how
Um,
y'all started. First of all, you didn't even like this motherfucker, and then your
no.
double cussed him out like that. And I get that we've grown to like
Mhm.
each other since, but like you're to be like, oh, you're mad at your dad, blah, whatever, but not address that you have a whole son that you're just ignoring. I'm not gonna let that go. That's fucking weird. We go to all these worlds and all we do is focus on Quinn, dumbass. What's going on with Quinn's life? And it's so weird because even if we get back to our Earth, who's to say your mama not dead?
Yeah.
How will we know that this is our Earth? What about the, you know what I'm saying? We thought we went home before. Fuck Quinn. Let me see. Bungee jumping. What the hell are we doing? Y'all couldn't pick the different, like, what? This is dumb. That's a death wish. You I, and then we didn't even get a line from Remember talking about, yeah, in the Navy, we used to tie knots real good, so I know you won't die. That's stupid. Um, yeah, fuck them. Let me see. He oh her he's a hero. Girl, shut the fuck up. Your school sucks. What district is this? Because why y'all not helping this boy? Um, the mom still a weirdo. Will I ever see you again? Girl, call the police. I'm gonna end on this. Him traumatizing this teacher.
Yes.
As soon as he said, "My name's not Jim, it's Quinn," I said, "This is fucking gross." Again, that's not his relative, so it's not incestuous. But you are alluding to, okay, let me how do I want to present this? You've courted this woman, you've
Mhm.
dated this woman, you've crossed the line where now you've kissed this woman several times. Yes, she would think that there's possibly going to be something. Do you not remember if this woman had a husband when you were a kid? Clearly she doesn't. She's not married. But what I'm saying is, like, you don't, maybe she got married down the line. You could have fucked this up for
Yeah.
her. She's probably in an insane asylum. Um, Having such close proximity to Quinn and his mom, being this knight in shining armor, being somebody who she's interested in now because you've inserted yourself into their life, only for you to, with the history of saying you loved the teacher who looked exactly like her,
Mhm.
say, "Oh, my name's not Jim, it's Quinn." Quinn is 12 years old in this world. What are you doing? This is fucking disgusting. This is gross. Like I said, is it
Yeah.
me? Am I the drama? Because I, nothing about that was charming. This shit was
No.
gross. And my thing was, why don't you just fucking tell her about sliding? Y'all tell everybody as soon as y'all pop through that
Mhm.
motherfucker. When the episode start, you like, "Hey y'all, we sliders. Let me explain to you what this is." Tell this woman. If the argument is, "Oh, I don't want to tell her because I don't want her to look at young Quinn differently,"
Yeah.
well, definitely don't tell her your name. So now and I'm not saying it's going to make her lust for his child version,
Yeah. Not
but
that.
it's
Yeah.
still fucking weird. She's now seen you walk through a damn
Hmm.
toilet portal and reveal that you are this little boy she's been half-heartedly taken care of. He's
But see,
gross.
even then, in her mind, 2 plus 2 equals alphabet soup, because
Yeah.
even him saying this moment that they were, like you said, that they were trying to play for like a charming, cool moment
Mm-hmm.
makes no fucking sense. And this is yet another example of like love him or leave him. Your Quinn Mallory, like, because there was nothing cool about that. It was like, if anything, she's like confused.
As
Like
hell.
you might be some fucking alien. You might
Yeah.
be like, that's the thing, you
Like,
know. So it was a weird moment. I don't know. And it, once again, it kind of undercuts. David, after talking this out, this kind of brought it down for me, like as far as
hey,
the rating.
this
So
episode sucks. It was fun, but
it
this
was
sucks.
fun. Yeah, yeah. Okay, so let's do this. What are your favorite and least favorite moment from the episode?
My favorite moment, I'm probably going to go with. I, I'll probably go with the boxing scene.
Okay.
Because even though I don't like Queen, I do think there's something to deal with your childhood trauma with your actual childhood self and
Hmm.
being able to reassure him. Because I think about that as a nerd. What would I say to my younger self? So yeah, I think
Yeah.
my favorite was Quinn times Quinn, or Quinn times two boxing
Mhm.
in the basement, not outside before
Yeah.
school. Like that's
Yeah.
weird. Yeah, and then my least favorite, anything with Quinn. No, probably, if I'm being honest, probably the opening. Because I feel like you had me emotionally invested, only for you to now spend the whole episode only making him getting ready to die to
Yeah.
serve Quinn's story, where you could have done something impactful, and then every scene following is played up for laughs and comic relief. So I
Mhm.
have to say the opening, just because you could have just said, I got pneumonia. I have
Yeah.
an STD. I don't know, something that I need antibiotics for if I just, but I'm going to be really weak. Like, so the
Yeah.
opening, even though I did like it, that's my least favorite.
Gotcha. So I think my favorite scene would have been it might be kind of a combination of a couple. The actor that played young Quinn,
Mm-hmm.
I actually liked him emoting or displaying his emotions with
Mm-hmm.
dealing with the loss of his dad. So
Yeah.
it's a heavy topic
Mm-hmm.
um that could have, if you didn't have a good actor,
Yeah.
handling it, could have come off as kind of like, but I believed that he was going through it,
Mm-hmm.
with kind of suffering this loss, and something that we had been introduced, or at least had been spoken about, was the death of his father. We now get
Mm-hmm.
a chance to see what it was like for Quinn.
Yeah.
Now, albeit all the shit surrounding it with
Yeah.
older Quinn and his mom and his that was crazy. But I think specifically him in those scenes where he was dealing with his dad's loss, that those work for me.
Mm-hmm.
Um, as far as the scene that didn't work was the introduction of this magical disease that the professor has. I just, I don't know. Maybe it's like the more serialized storytelling fan in me. I don't like the fact that they didn't drop like even some
Mm-hmm.
kernels before this, because it would have, like, if we had known that he was not feeling well, or if he was weak when they were running, because the professor been getting it. That's our joke. Like, the professor gets it every fucking
Yes.
episode, right? So he don't look sick to me, right? So that didn't work, as it didn't work for me.
Mm-hmm.
And now I'm wondering because I honestly can't remember. I wonder if they're going to be like carry it forward or
No.
mention it in future episodes.
No,
But there you go.
they're not. I
Um,
can tell you that. He's cured.
so what about favorite and least favorite character?
Favorite is Baby Quinn.
Okay.
Favorite is because I truly feel like I would love to go with Rembrandt away, but they didn't do anything this episode.
Yeah.
They were,
Yeah.
and younger Quinn was the, I mean, the bullies were the victims too. 'Cause Quinn is
Yeah.
but I think he's the only person. I don't feel as strongly about him as I did of like Jillian and the spirits, but
Yeah.
I do think he's the only person in this episode who had, I don't even want to say had common sense, but who acted accordingly.
Yeah.
He
Yeah.
lashed out. He got into the fights. He yearned for Quinn's attention because you're this older man who has stepped in and helped me. Like he did, everybody else failed him. His mama, older
Hmm.
Quinn, his teacher. So
Yeah.
Baby Quinn is my favorite. Um, though Quinn is my least favorite, I'm not gonna go with him. I'm
Hmm.
actually I gotta combine them too. His, well, no, because that's that. Then I should go with. I'm going to say I'm going to say the teacher, Miss
Okay.
Hannah, because I can, the mom. I'm still frustrated with her, but I can give you, you're grieving
Yeah.
and you're dealing with a young boy. You haven't been a boy before, so it's like you're
Hmm.
trying to figure it. So I can give her that. And you may have been a sheltered housewife. Maybe you, Michael, made all or most of the money, so you don't have to do a lot. So I'm gonna give her that. I
Hmm.
don't want to, and I'll even give our Queen some, because you're reliving a trauma
Yeah.
again, and you're in it. You still think he handled it poorly, but the teacher,
Yeah.
you dropped the ball, lady. Every turn you drop the ball. You at my house, you're not talking to your boss. You see the first fight, you see this grown man come help out, but you don't step in. You see these creeps
Yeah.
at the gate. Like they all failed him, but Miss Hanley, whatever, you suck, lady.
Gotcha. So
She,
there's, I think my favorite, even though I did say like he was involved in my least favorite moment, I like the professor in this episode.
Okay.
Because we got something different than the normal gruff yelling at Wade every 5 minutes.
Yeah.
Even though when he rolled his eyes at Remy, like, oh, motherfucker, come on, stop simplifying what I said. That, but I liked him.
Yeah.
Even with the haphazardry, which was his
Yeah.
storyline for this episode, and we both agreed it should have been the A storyline.
Absolutely.
Least favorite, I don't want to just go with Quinn.
Yeah.
Whoever wrote for them bullies, because that was crazy. That was, what do you say? That was crazy work, right? Like that was every offensive thing. Like y'all just made these people like ultra bullies. And to be honest with you, there are people out there who just say wild shit like that. So I'd say the bullies just for the heck of. Oh no, the writer, the one who wrote that dialogue.
Yeah.
For the kids. In the 90s in general, with just letting people or whatever. But yeah, the writer of that scene, whoever's in the writer's room was just like, let's just have him say all the most horrible shit. I was like, whoa, Stan, you okay?
Right.
But yeah. So out of out of 10 bats, 10 knee breaking bats, what are you gonna rate this episode?
It's gonna be low, but I hate it because I did have fun.
Mm-hmm.
But it's gotta be. I don't want to do 4.5. I'm gonna do 5.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah, because I don't, and mind you, I did have fun. I would rewatch this episode. This was not, but I just think overall the way they've handled Quinn. Every episode, I gotta have a love interest. When Wade is right there, that would make it so much more interesting. But I'm the only one who get a love interest. I'm the only one who gets these censored episodes on me. I'm like, it's so much in it. At this point, I'm just tired of it because it doesn't make any sense. We got your ex-love. We got you as a kid. We bent time in the rules to make sure we could see you as a kid, but we don't get that for anybody else.
Yeah.
And you talking about that traumatic, that's also part of it. I'm okay with like retconning something right in this episode because I know it ain't gonna last. But this trauma, after you've gotten so many people killed, and this isn't me being funny because I hate Quinn, but just in general, you really have left bodies in your wake as we've gone through the season, and you've never once showed PTSD from like, oh, I fucked this boy knees up. This is just like me to be killing people.
Yeah.
So I want to go 4.5. I'm gonna go with 5 bats.
You said 5
backs. Yeah.
Gotcha. So I think this one I'm going with the 7.
Okay.
Going with the 7. Because I think before it might have been like an 8, right? And to be honest with you, you know what? I might just do 6.5 to 7 to play it safe because
oh Lord.
There was, like you said, the Quinn stuff it seems like that's just becoming par for the course when, with each of these episodes. But I do think that there on the pro side, there was enough there kind of emotional wise with young Quinn specifically.
Yeah.
Where it kind of held things up. Also seeing a different side of the professor worked. But then on the other side, it was like adults not questioning, these, the mom and the teacher not questioning, being questioning enough, being more protective of Quinn, the young Quinn, the addition of this mysterious disease that we don't even have a name for,
which could be contagious. Well, no, I'm sorry.
And then just the other, did you say is it contagious?
I'm like, it could be contagious. You're not telling us it's probably COVID, but whatever.
He's got COVID. It's long-term COVID, and the sidelining of Wade and Remy as
Mhm.
usual, just to react rather than to react to stuff.
Yeah.
So it's just like I really want to give an episode this season like an 8, right?
Mhm.
But we're not I'm not just going to give it just to give it, but it no, this ain't that type of podcast. So
He's ironing
um
it out.
but yeah, so that's kind of that's where final thoughts where we sit.
Mhm.
um Kind of piggybacking on that, one thing I did want to bring up is apparently, and I was completely unawares because I don't think I'd be checking Instagram that
Mhm.
much, but Clavant Derricks and John Reese Davies and Jerry O'Connell were at a convention in September, and it was a mini Sliders reunion. It was the Galaxy Con in St. Louis. And shout out to Sliders Fan Blog. It all runs together.
Mhm.
Sliders Fan Blog for bringing us. I think there's YouTube coverage of it.
Mm.
They actually shared it from someone else, Kinman81, and that was where I saw the news about it at. So if you go to Sliders Fan Blog on Instagram, you should be able to see a picture of um, Clavant and John sitting together at the panel, and I think there might be other stuff up there, but their Instagram page is just a really awesome celebration of sliders.
Good
There's one
deal.
of one of a few that I follow. So shout out to them, but also shout out to. I was especially happy because Clavant Derricks, he doesn't do a lot of conventions,
Mm.
if at all. And I'm glad to see him getting out there
Yeah.
and doing that stuff and being celebrated for it. So sadly enough, Sabrina Lloyd wasn't there; she couldn't make it. But
Mhm.
I think Clavon Derricks is going to be at another convention
Mm.
this month. This month, if I did the math
Being
right.
aware.
So, and his website has been updated. So that's
Okay.
yeah. So maybe he'll be coming to a convention in either my area or Rain's area, and I'll be able to tell him, "Yo, brother, thank
Hey.
you for for being the final brother in
Mhm.
this series."
Right.
So but
Shit.
yeah, it was cool, and they apparently I haven't watched the video, but they did talk about wanting to bring the show back.
Mm, good.
So
Oh God, yeah. Look, I ain't even got to the end. I'm talking about. Oh yeah,
yeah,
yeah. Yeah. I would love to meet him. Well,
yeah,
all of them, sure, but cause I was like, yeah, where your brother at? I know it's two of y'all. Bring your ass up. Yeah, I would love to meet him. Damn.
but yeah, so that's the little sliders news for today.
Hmm.
Um, but yeah, it's another fun episode to watch and recap,
Yes,
even
indeed.
though it had some goofiness, but yeah, as usual, I always have fun talking this stuff.
Same. Yeah, I'm. This was cool. Like I said, it may not seem like it because I did a lot of fussing, but I did have fun with this episode. And it's not my favorite, but it's definitely not my least favorite episode. This was cool. So yeah, y'all check out all the links in the show notes. Check out the SyFy Sisters. I'll probably add the Sliders fan blog Instagram link to there as well.
Yeah,
Make it
yeah.
easy for everybody to just check all that out. And yeah, that's it. So shit, this has been a wild ride, y'all. Shit. So Robert, you got any last words? Are you okay? Or
We're getting close to a 1 year anniversary,
oh,
for the show. So
hey,
it's this month. I got to get an exact date for
yo,
the first episode. So yeah, we
yo.
we we've gotten through what, like 2 seasons.
Yeah, we
Yeah,
did. It's time flies. It doesn't even like
yeah,
it kind of feels like it, but then again, it doesn't. So I'm like, we ain't been doing it that long. No, you have. Like
yeah.
we
Because
both have
we've gone
like
through them.
done a lot of shit in that time. So
Hmm. Hmm.
yeah. Well, okay, cool. Well, y'all, yeah. Make sure to tell us happy birthday, anniversary, whatever. Like, tell us that. Put it in the comments. But get on it early. So
Yeah,
yeah. I don't know. Well, I don't got much either. Great episode. Even though I fussed it out.
yeah.
Still, I think I recommend you watch it. And I hope that next episode gives us a little bit more of somebody else,
Hmm.
anybody else. Shit. And until next time, stay carefree, stay nerdy, stay geeky. And if you travel back in time, but kind of not back in time, do not insert yourself in your younger self's
No.
life. Like, maybe show up and say hey. Maybe give them, I don't know, a hug and then leave. Like,
Yeah.
leave yourself alone. Shit. Damn.
Leave yourself alone.
Please do. Like, that's it. God damn. Or be an adult. Shit. Bye.